She was the richest woman in the ancient world. Queen Makeda ruled a land few had ever seen, but she had a question no one could answer. For months, her sages debated, offered theories, and evaded. They had no answer, only words.
Enough. You speak in circles. I did not summon you for stories.
Then a trader from the north arrived, bearing tales of a king whose wisdom was legendary.
You say this. Solomon answers every question posed to him.
2,000 kilometers of desert and mountain separated them, a journey of months.
Prepare a caravan. I will go to Jerusalem and test his wisdom myself.
My queen, the journey is dangerous and long. Is this wise?
Wisdom that cannot answer my question is no wisdom at all. I must know.
And so, the richest woman on earth prepared to cross the known world for a conversation. No one had ever assembled a caravan so laden with wealth. Gold, talents, spices worth a kingdom, gems of the Ophir trade.
These are not gifts, they are proof. Let him see what he must equal.
My queen, the desert will claim lives. The mountains will break the strongest camels. It can take 4 months to reach Jerusalem, 4 more to return, all for a question.
Then I will have my answer for half a year of my life, instead of forever without it.
She had given the order. The caravan assembled at dawn, camel after camel, laden until they groaned. A fortune visible from a mile away. She climbed onto the white camel that would carry her across the known world.
If Solomon is half what they say, the journey is worth it. If not, the world will know.
And so, the caravan of the Queen of Sheba set out, a golden thread across the burning sand. Day melted into day. The sun hammered the sand like a blacksmith shaping gold.
What is the point of all my treasure if I can't answer the one question that keeps me awake at night?
At times, the caravan passed wells that had long since dried. The water skins grew lighter.
My queen, the guides say the next oasis is still days away. The camels are weakening.
Then we ration. Push the men, but spare the animals. We will not stop for Jerusalem.
Nights were little relief. The cold crept in, and the stars stared down without mercy.
If Solomon has no answer, what then? All this suffering for nothing.
Then the trail climbed into mountains, where one misstep sent stones clattering into the abyss.
I have led my people through war and famine. I will not be stopped by rock and sun.
She was no longer traveling toward a city. She was traveling toward an answer she feared might not exist. The sun refused to yield. Even the camels stumbled now, their humps flattening with exhaustion.
The water is nearly gone. If we miss the next spring, we'll be digging graves, not wells.
Then we walk. The camels carry the gold, not us. If my feet bleed, so be it. Every step I take is a question. I refuse to die without answering.
They climbed mountain after mountain, the pass narrowing to a knife's edge.
If I fall here, no one will even know this caravan existed. But if I survive, they'll remember.
Then, at last, a morning unlike the others. A scouting party rode back with news. From a hilltop, she saw it, Jerusalem, golden in the morning light.
After all this, the city stands. But is the wisdom inside as real as those stones?
She had crossed half the world for a question. Now the answer waited behind those walls. The caravan descended into the valley and approached the Damascus gate. A crowd had gathered, mouths open at the sheer scale of the procession.
A city of stone and cedar, yet it pulses with something more. Even the beggars seem expectant.
They passed through market squares and narrow streets until the palace loomed ahead. Lebanon, cedar, and polished gold caught the afternoon sun.
And I thought my own palace grand. This is not mere wealth. It is a kingdom built on purpose.
Dismounting, she entered the throne room. The doors alone could have swallowed her entire treasury. Every surface glowed. Ivory, gold, and the scent of incense. Even her own people, behind her, fell silent. At the far end, on a throne of ivory and gold, sat a man who did not look up. He simply waited.
So this is Solomon, a king who needs no introduction, only questions. I did not come this far to be silenced by splendor. The gold can wait. The question cannot.
The richest woman in the world stood before the wisest king. The first question hung, unspoken in the air. Queen Makeda did not bow. She stepped forward and spoke, her voice ringing in the hall. The first question came like a blade.
King Solomon, what does a man gain from all his labor if the same fate awaits both the wise and the fool?
The gain is not in escaping fate, but in understanding it. Wisdom is its own reward, for it teaches the heart to number its days.
He did not hesitate. My sages would have debated for days, but I have more. Then answer this. If a ruler wrongs his own people, who bears the greater guilt? The ruler who commands, or the people who obey?
Both. The ruler for misusing authority, and the people for choosing silence over justice. A kingdom cannot stand divided against itself.
The courtiers exchanged glances. No one dared interrupt. The Queen of the South was testing their king with the same fire they had only heard rumors of.
He turns my spear into a teaching. I came to find a flaw, but I am beginning to be the student. One more, King of Israel. What is the beginning of wisdom? And where can a queen find it?
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and you have already found it. You crossed the desert to seek it.
The hall remained silent. Solomon's words had ended the duel, but the queen was not yet ready to surrender.
He speaks of fearing his God. I have many gods, but none that demand such reverence. I must see if his devotion is real.
Solomon rose from his ivory throne, dispelling the tension with a gesture of welcome.
Rest tonight. Tomorrow I will show you the temple, and you will see why wisdom begins with the fear of the Lord.
That evening, she sat at his table. The food was abundant, but it was the order that struck her.
Every dish in its place, every noble in proper rank. This is not mere luxury. It is a kingdom where nothing is wasted. Your servants move like warriors on a battlefield, yet there is no fear in their eyes. How do you command such loyalty?
Loyalty is not commanded. It is inspired when a king serves his people before himself.
She observed the cupbearers. Their hands were steady, their robes immaculate. Never had she seen such precision in service.
I came to test his wisdom, but his household is testing my understanding of power itself.
The next morning, she followed Solomon to the temple. It was not just a building, it was an argument carved in stone. She passed through courtyards thick with incense. Each step felt heavier, as if the ground demanded reverence.
My temples are filled with gold, but here I feel watched, not by guards, but by something I cannot name.
Then a disturbance at the gate. 2 women, 1 child. A dispute that would test more than Solomon's law. Both claimed the child. Both wept. Solomon listened, his face unreadable.
Bring me a sword. I will divide the living child in 2 and give half to each.
One woman fell to her knees, screaming. The other stood silent, waiting.
He knows the heart of the mother. He sees what no judge could see.
Solomon pointed to the weeping woman. She is the mother. Give her the child. The hall erupted in awe.
That moment, for the first time in my life, I am afraid. Not of a king, but of the mind behind him.
That night, the queen could not sleep. She requested a private audience with Solomon, away from the courtiers. In his study, Surrounded by scrolls of wisdom, she asked the question that had been building since the temple courtyard.
You speak of fearing your God. I have never feared anything in my life. Show me why I should.
It is not fear of punishment. It is the awe that comes when you stand before the creator of the universe.
At dawn, he led her back to the temple, to the altar where the morning sacrifice was prepared. Solomon lifted his hands toward heaven. The fire fell, consuming the offering before the sun had fully risen.
My gods are silent. This God answers with fire.
She watched the flames, her lips moving in words she did not understand.
This is the fear of the Lord. Not terror, but the beginning of knowing him.
I have gold. I have armies. But I have never stood before something so holy.
The fire died down, but the queen remained frozen. The priestly chants faded into silence around her.
If a god answers with fire, what question can I possibly ask that will not be consumed by the same flame?
She slowly turned back to Solomon, who was watching her with patient eyes. The question she had carried across the desert now burned on her tongue.
King Solomon, if your God is truly the creator of all, why does he remain hidden while men build altars? Why not simply speak?
He did speak. Through the law given to Moses, through the prophets, and now through the wisdom he grants to those who seek.
Words on scrolls, fires on altars. None of this answers why I am here, why I rule, why my heart aches for something more.
Without waiting for a dismissal, she walked away from the temple into the palace gardens. The ordered beauty that had once impressed her now felt like a puzzle.
My queen, you have not eaten. The court whispers that you seem shaken.
I came expecting a wise man. I found something that terrifies me. Tomorrow, I will ask him the only question that never found an answer in Sheba.
She stood alone under the stars, the weight of an unspoken question pressing against her chest. The test was not over. It had only just begun. The morning came with a heavy silence. She requested one final audience with the king. This time, there were no riddles. They met in the small chamber, where the scrolls held the words of prophets. She did not sit. Her voice was low.
Solomon, I have climbed mountains and crossed deserts. I have ruled nations, but I have never understood why my soul feels empty. Why does nothing satisfy?
Solomon did not answer at once. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them, they seemed to look beyond her.
Because you were made for more than wealth and power. The heart is a void only God can fill. Without him, even a queen is a beggar.
The words hit her like a physical blow. Her breath caught. Her hand rose to her chest, but it did not move. For the first time in her life, Queen Makeda was utterly silent. No retort, no command, just stillness.
He didn't answer my question. He answered my life.
The air in the room felt thick. She tried to speak, but no words came. The Hebrew text records. There was no more breath in her. Something inside her cracked open, not broken, but finally able to receive. The test was over. The discovery had just begun. After what felt like hours, she drew a ragged breath. Her chest rose, and her voice emerged, fragile and new.
You have not just answered my riddles, Solomon. You have named the hunger that has gnawed at my throne since the day I sat on it. But what am I to do with a void that only your God can fill? I have altars of my own.
Tear them down. Not by force of hand, but by surrender of heart. Seek the Lord while he may be found.
He asks me to unbuild my entire kingdom of belief, to walk into a desert without a map and call it faith. Then I will speak before your court, not as a tester, but as one who has been tested and found lacking.
She left the study and called for her counselor. Andrew came at once, alarmed by the new stillness in her face.
Andrew, bring the gifts. All of them. The gold, the spices, the jewels. I will not use them to measure him. I will lay them at his feet.
My queen, this is half the wealth of Sheba. Are you certain?
She did not answer. She simply walked toward the throne room, where the entire court awaited the verdict of the Queen of the South. The great doors swung open, and every head turned. Queen Makeda entered the throne room, not as a challenger, but as something else entirely. She strode to the center of the hall, Solomon watching from his ivory throne. The silence was absolute. Even the guards held their breath.
Solomon, King of Israel. The report I heard in my own country about your achievements and your wisdom is true, but I did not believe the reports until I came and my own eyes had seen, and behold, the half was not told me.
A murmur rippled through the assembly. The foreign queen was not only conceding, she was exalting.
Your wisdom and prosperity surpass the report that I heard. What I have witnessed here has no equal in my kingdom.
She turned and signaled. The great doors opened again, and servants poured in, carrying chests of gold, sacks of spices, and trays of precious stones. The wealth that had taken months to haul was now piled before the throne, a mountain of tribute no one had ever seen.
I brought these to test you. Now they are no longer proof, but tribute to wisdom that does not come from man.
The king did not gloat. He simply looked at her with the patience of a man who had known all along that true wisdom draws. It does not conquer. The king rose from his throne and walked toward the mountain of tribute, but his eyes were only on the queen.
Queen Makeda, today you have given more than gold. You have given fear, the right kind of fear.
Not yet. I have only felt it. I want to know the God who answers with fire.
A servant brought forward a scroll sealed with the royal emblem of Israel.
Take this. It is the beginning of all I have written. Let it guide you back to Sheba and beyond.
Her fingers closed around the scroll, as if it were the most precious gem in her treasury.
He gives me the words of his God. This is not a gift. This is a path.
She bowed her head, not to a foreign king, but to the God she had just begun to meet.
Go in peace, and when you reach your own land, remember that wisdom is not a destination, but a journey.
She turned and walked toward the great doors, the scroll pressed against her heart. The caravan would leave at dawn. The caravan assembled in the gray light before dawn. The camels, lighter now without the gold, moved with an uneasy energy.
I came with a question. I leave with an answer that demands everything.
My queen, you left half our wealth behind, and now you carry a scroll as if it were worth more than the gold we lost.
Because it is, Andrew. The gold was always going to be someone else's. This scroll is the first thing I've ever owned that can't be counted.
But our people will not understand. The gods of Sheba have protected us for generations. How will you explain that a foreign god is now supreme?
He's right. This could split my kingdom. The priests will fight me. The nobles will whisper. But if I stay silent, I deny what I saw. Then let them whisper. I will not build altars to silence anymore. When we return, I will speak the truth and let the living God defend it.
She mounted her camel and did not look back again. The road home stretched before her, a mirror of the one she had traveled before, but nothing else was the same. The journey home was longer than the journey there. Not in miles, but in the weight of the question she now had to answer. How to bring a fire from heaven into a kingdom built of stone. Somewhere on the road, Andrew emptied the last of the water into her cup and saw in her eyes a faith he could not yet understand, but he did not question it again. Nights in the desert were still cold, but the queen no longer looked at the stars with dread. She read by firelight, the scroll unrolled across her knees.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. I read it again, and each time it cuts deeper. How can I fear a God who loves?
You have read those words every night. The men talk. They wonder if our queen is becoming a foreigner.
A foreigner to error, not to truth. I am becoming what I was always meant to be.
But the priests will demand a sign. The people will want proof that this new God is stronger than the old ones.
He already gave it. A fire from heaven consumed the offering. But for those who cannot see, I will be the proof. My life will be the sign. God of Israel, I do not know how to serve you, but I know how to lead. Use my throne or take it away. Either way, I am yours.
She rolled the scroll and tucked it into her robe. A prayer had replaced a question.
Weeks more, then months. But I am not counting days anymore. I am counting what I will build when I return.
The dawn broke behind her, casting long shadows toward the land she had left as a skeptic and would return to as a bearer of fire. The gates of Sheba swung open, and the caravan entered to silence. The crowds did not cheer. They saw the lighter camels, the missing treasure, and they whispered.
They look at me as if I have returned from the dead. Perhaps, in a way, I have.
The priests have already denounced you. They say you have abandoned the gods of Sheba for a foreign spirit. The nobles are demanding an explanation.
Then they shall have one. Call the court to assemble at dawn. I will not hide behind palace walls.
The next morning, the throne room was packed. Every priest, every noble, every merchant who had once benefited from her wealth.
I have seen the fire of the living God. The gods of Sheba are silent idols. I will follow the Lord of Israel.
Shouts erupted. Some called her a traitor. Others fell to their knees, not in worship, but in terror of what this would mean.
They will try to depose you. The priests control the people. If you abolish the old gods, you will have a civil war.
Then let it be a war of truth against lies. I did not cross the desert to bring back a secret. I brought back a fire, and Sheba will burn or be reborn.
That night, the palace guards doubled. Outside the walls, altars to the old gods still smoked, but inside the queen's heart, a new altar had already been built. By noon, a mob filled the square before the palace. At its head, the high priest held a flaming torch, shouting for the queen to renounce her god.
They are beyond reason, my queen. If you go out there, they will kill you without hesitation.
Then I will die speaking truth. But I will not die a liar. Follow me and watch what the God of Israel can do.
She walked through the hissing crowd to the ruined temple, where the ancient altar of Sheba's patron god stood cold and silent.
This altar has received 1,000 offerings and never answered a single prayer. Today, it will witness its last.
The high priest pointed his torch and screamed, "Then call your God. Let him answer as he did for Solomon, or die a blasphemer."
God of Solomon, I am not a king, but I crossed the desert to find you. Show them what you showed me.
Without warning, lightning split the clear sky. A column of fire descended on the altar, and the old wood exploded into flame. The torch fell from the priest's hand. No one breathed. The fire consumed the altar, the idols, everything. When the flames died, the queen still stood, the scroll untouched in her hand, and many in the crowd fell on their faces, whispering the name of the Lord. The high priest stumbled backward, his robes singed. For the first time in his life, he had no curse to speak.
Hear me, Sheba. The Lord has spoken. This is now a kingdom under the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
The crowd, still trembling, began to repeat her words. The old gods were silent. This one had just burned their altar to ash.
My queen, I saw it. Forgive my doubt. Tell me what to do.
Build an altar, Andrew, not of stone from the quarry, but from the rubble of the old. Let them see that the true God is not made by hands.
Within days, a new altar rose where the old one had stood. The queen herself laid the first stone.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding.
Merchants who had once dealt in idols now traded in frankincense for the new sanctuary. The palace treasury began to fill again, not with gold for show, but with offerings freely given.
It cost me half a kingdom to find this, but I would give the other half to keep it.
The Queen of Sheba had set out to test a king. She returned having met a god who could not be tested, only feared and then loved. The years that followed were unlike any Sheba had known. No war, no famine, only a strange and growing peace.
They said, I lost my wealth, but I found what gold cannot buy and fire cannot destroy.
Centuries later, a teacher from Nazareth would say of her, "The Queen of the South will rise at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for she came from the ends of the earth to listen to Solomon's wisdom." Her journey became a living parable, a woman of power, seeking not more power, but a truth worth crossing the world for. In her old age, she still held the small carving of a lion, a gift from Solomon, a symbol of the tribe of Judah.
Out of Judah came a king. Out of Judah will come a lion who is not like other lions. I will not live to see him, but my kingdom will wait.
The Queen of Sheba no longer looked at the stars as a skeptic. She looked at them as a daughter, and when she finally closed her eyes, the kingdom of Sheba did not fall. It became a land where the name of the Lord was spoken long after the gold had been spent. The richest woman in the world had found the one treasure that moth and rust could not destroy. In the garden of her palace, the queen, now gray, would sit under the acacia tree and let the morning light wash over the words of Solomon. The scroll had not faded. Its truth had grown brighter with every year of peace. She taught her counselors, her heirs, her people, not with commands, but with the quiet certainty of one who had met the living God. And in the evenings, children would gather around fires to hear the story of the queen who traded gold for wisdom. They learned that the fear of the Lord was not terror, but the beginning of everything. One night, she stood at her window and looked at the stars that had once heard her doubts. They now listened to her praise.
The journey was never about Solomon. It was about the God who gave him wisdom. And now he is my God too.
The Queen of Sheba had built an altar not of stone but of faith, and it stands to this day in a land that once worshipped idols but now calls upon the name of the Lord. And for those who still question if wisdom is worth the cost, let the Queen of the South be your answer. She came with gold. She returned with a fire that still burns. The desert road that once swallowed camels and gold is now a path worn smooth by pilgrims seeking what she found. The fire that fell on the altar of Sheba has never gone out. It burns in every heart that chooses wisdom over gold. Queen Makeda's face, lined with years, became the most convincing argument for the God of Israel. The altar built from rubble still stands. No idol has ever been raised on that ground again, and the scroll she carried has multiplied. Its words are spoken in 1,000 tongues, calling the wise to seek the living God. The Lion of Judah she held so tightly became a symbol of a coming king, one who would not just rule, but save. She no longer searches the stars for answers. She rests in the one who made them. And so, the richest woman in history walked into the light, not with gold, but with a crown of wisdom. She came seeking Solomon. She found the God of Solomon, And that is why, even today, the Queen of the South still speaks, the Queen of Sheba, the richest woman in the world who traveled months to test Solomon.